the other things we want to talk about, besides Mike Huckaby doing production, some of the stuff you've been working on. I know you had that little CD you've been kind of passed on. You showed me earlier, correct?
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't really understand what's going on at UFIL. It's a nonprofit organization that started, I think, maybe like 2005 or something like that. And it's for the youth of Detroit, ages 11 to 19, that can study and learn like every multimedia subject of their choice: Pro Tools, C+, archery, basketball, web radio, web design. I mean, like anything for $25 a year. And I did the math on that, and that's like less than 7 cents a day. Less than like your lunch, you know? And, you know, for me, you know, when I came a part of UFIL and I saw what was going on there, it literally was the most significant thing that happened in Detroit since the DEMF. I mean, you know, for those that can remember the first DEMF,
Oh, yeah.
like you'll never forget that when like
Never.
you showed up and, you know, you had
Like Basic Channel, like performing on the main stage when they weren't even announced.
like when you even heard the announcement of like this festival was going to take place, and like you had no idea if anybody was going to show up, and then like 2-3 days later, like literally, not fabricated, but literally 1 million people were there, and like that was like the second birth of like second, third, whatever of the electronic movement in Detroit that just resonated with everyone. And UFIL, to me, and not even to me, like it's a fact that UFIL is the most significant thing that has happened in Detroit for the youth of Detroit, where you can like learn all of this for like $25 a year. So, and there are a lot of opportunities for people to get involved where like you can bring your talents to UFIL. So if you have some certification, or maybe not even some certification in a program such as Pro Tools, Reason, or anything like that, it is possible to start a class there. And, you know, it's a hell of a resume builder where, like, you can just, you know, start getting a lot of professional affiliations behind yourself. And, again, like, you can give back to the community most of all.
More important than anything, you can change the future. Because
Exactly.
where are the music programs? It's not like Stevie Wonder went to schools with no music programs.
And, you know, when you were talking about Red Bull giving back, and honestly, like, my opinion and my take on Red Bull is that, like, Red Bull is really the saving grace of electronic music, where, like, Red Bull has taken on the enormous challenge and responsibility to continue developing and producing these events worldwide, and not abandoning it like a new club that didn't get the numbers they were looking for. Like, you really have to take that in consideration, that like after all these years of producing these events worldwide, that they remain dedicated to producing this. And in this days, it's like everything's a numbers game. Like, you don't get the numbers in the club as a promoter, you're out. And, you know, there's no sign of this folding. Every year is produced. The quality of the production that goes in this is matched year by year. So last year, if, you know, Basic Channel or like, you know, anyone, Leroy Burgess showed up, next year you get somebody of the equivalent caliber who hasn't contributed yet, and it just keeps going. And so on that note, like, I mean, Red Bull is kind of facilitating a large hold for electronic music as we know it, especially with the collapse of radio. where so many people aren't really even listening to radio, and everyone has a podcast and everyone has their own radio show or some type of broadcast now. You know, in that way, you know, things have shifted and changed where the listening, the audience or the listenership has changed from the radio to like the internet. And if you ever even been to the I mean, take a few minutes and go to the Red Bull website where there's like archives of all types of discussions and even seminars and mixes. Some that stood out to me was like the Mad Lib one. You should definitely check out the Mad Lib one. And for House, check out the Ron Trent one. He talked about some really deep stuff. And, you know, their website is just amazing from design all the way down to content. I mean, you know, Red Bull is really, you know, been harping on it, but like it's really no joke.